watch the video and I react. So I'm just getting it prepared right now. And then we'll go ahead and we will watch this together, because I think this is personally fascinating. This is a fascinating, one of the most fascinating insights I've had into really what is going on with the Snyder cult. And, you know, I used to say this jokingly before about the Snyder cult, but now I'm serious. There is an actual Snyder cult that one day might end quite tragically. I'm being serious. There's a proper Snyder cult. It's not any longer like, oh, you know, some trolls on the internet. This thing has fully formed into a cult. These people praise and are blind to any criticism that can go against Snyder. They are so obsessed. They are so driven by some factors that, you know, I even agree with them on. I think Marvel movies are overrated. MCU movies are overrated. I like darker, more serious tones to my comic book movies. However, sometimes there are certain directors who just aren't good enough to pull off those visions. And what's happened is Zack Snyder, in the absence of talent and the ability to actually really maturely do a good job of reimagining these DC characters in a universe that is more serious than, say, the Marvel jokey universe. In the absence of the ability to do that, he's basically done an all-out assault on on Warner Brothers and the DCEU. Now, there's aspects of this that I myself agree with. As I said, I think I can't stand the direction the Suicide Squad is going in, for instance. All of this jokes and humor and, you know, oh, it's going to be a comedy. I hear that now the Flashpoint is going to be very, very comedic as well. Don't like it. I think that's bullshit. The Flashpoint movie is supposed to be a very serious movie, taking these comic book heroes a little bit more seriously. And I you know, this kind of fan service, bringing in, you know, I want to see Michael Keaton more than the next guy. I'd love to see Michael Keaton and Ben Affleck share a scene. But the fact is, that ain't the Flashpoint story. If you want to do that, come up with an original story to do that in. Yeah, this is not the place for the Flashpoint. The Flashpoint tells a lean, interesting story about, you know, about the Flash and him trying to get his mother back, and him meeting Thomas Wayne, an alternate world Batman, who's more like the Punisher. This is not the place to be doing, as I said, like this isn't the place to be doing, you know, some kind of comedy shtick. Hello, anyone who's in the comments, please do me a favor, smash that like button and do comment in the comments section or the live chat, and I will be sure to respond. So anyway, as I was saying, I'm not into this idea, and I'll show you the evidence of this, of the Flashpoint becoming basically a comedy movie, right? So there are things that that Warner Brothers is doing that don't make sense to me. It's clear from movies like Wonder Woman, from movies like The Joker, from movies like the Batman that is going to be coming out, that DC's best path is to take their superheroes more seriously while respecting the characters themselves. You don't turn your character into Batman to make your character more serious. What you do, and this is the important thing, is you respect the character while taking a more serious tone with it. It doesn't mean there can be no jokes or no humor in the movie whatsoever, but just take the character more seriously. It's what Wonder Woman did. It's kind of what Shazam did as well, and it's definitely what the Batman and the Joker did. And it's making money, and it's making waves. The Batman trailer has made waves, much more than the Suicide Squad or any of the jokey movies that you've been coming out with, right? So let's get back to that. Be DC, be your own personality. But this is what the Snyder cult have confused with. They've confused this. The fact that DC sometimes is going more jokey, is having different tones in their movies, has gained some success. But they're confusing this with, okay, well, if you make a jokey movie or a funny movie can actually be a good movie. But they're so obsessed with tone. They're so obsessed with this Snyder dark tone that they can't see that a movie like Shazam was actually a lot better. That was actually a lot, more sophisticated in its its narrative approach than even Man of Steel. I'm sorry to say. So anyway, let's get on to this video showing Grace Randolph has become part of the Snyder cult. And I like her. I actually like I like her channel. I like her. I think she gets a lot of insults sometimes, which are unnecessary. I don't think she's done anything to anybody that necessitates her being insulted. But she got a video. She recently did an interview with Zack Snyder. And clearly she appreciates it so much that she's decided to join the cult. She's full on decided to join this cult. And this video proves it. So I'm gonna watch this with you, first of all.
Strongest warning. I mean, look, the Wrap ran a clear hit piece about a week or so ago, but I honestly feel that this is a turning point in the WB versus Ray Fisher situation, and I think that's why the Hollywood Reporter agreed to run this. I think it's from Warner Brothers, because Warner Brothers ain't playing. I think with this article, Warner Brothers is very clearly signaling Ray Fisher that if he wants to be part of the Snyder Cut going forward, from additional photography to the publicity campaign, he better just stop. Okay,
so I want to give this some context, because she actually doesn't talk about this during the whole video. So I'm going to actually try and find this article so that we can have a look at this article during it. Sorry guys, I will cut this out. So that should come up now. So let's continue.
By the way, does not appreciate being used as collateral. Should, they've had enough drama. They just want to tell their story, and we just want to watch it. And I think that by leveraging the Snyder Cut, that's going to put fans in a difficult position. I think it's a clever move by Warner Brothers. It's a clever move. I'm going to talk about what I think Ray Fisher should do in a moment. But first, let's talk additional photography. Now, when the Snyder Cut was officially announced back in May, I told you, I'd heard from my sources that there would be additional photography.
Let's stop right here. One of the problems I'm having at the moment with this whole Snyder cult and the Snyder Cut essentially is one thing that really is starting to bother me. Is this film complete or is it not? Because all of this additional photography, additional shooting, is not what people signed up to. It's not what everyone has been going through everyone who is against or for the Snyder Cut has been going through. I was always like somebody who wanted the Snyder Cut to come out a little bit later, but I definitely wanted it to come out. I wanted to see it. I wanted to see his vision. Unlike everyone else, I don't think he, was done dirty by Warner Brothers at all. I don't think he was. He should have been fired earlier. He should have been fired, or not fired, he should have been reassigned something that suits his cinematic approach after Man of Steel. After BVS, they should have got rid of him immediately, and some people actually did want to get rid of him before the Justice League started, and were told they could not by higher-ups. So I think it was, I'm not sure if it was, it wasn't Jeff Johns, actually, but I think it was Diane Lane, who wanted Zack Snyder off of, and you can check this up, she wanted Zack Snyder off of basically off of Justice League after BVS was released, to poor reception. There were other people, execs, who wanted him off. It was it was the guy who was running Warner Brothers before who said no to Zack Snyder being taken off, and he should have been. There is no reason. Nobody can tell me a reason why Aquaman has made more money than Batman v Superman, and you're going to tell me that Zack Snyder shouldn't have been fired from that position. He was wrong for those for Justice League. He was wrong for Batman v Superman. And the thing about it is, which is even more important of why he should have been fired, was by the time he got to Justice League, he was being micromanaged anyway. The film that he wanted to shoot, all you Snyder fans wanted to see, was never going to be made. They were like saying, absolutely fucking not. We are not going to have another hour of Superman being, some depressed emo and him not being the proper Superman yet. We're not doing any of those things. We're not, basically they told him no to everything that he was saying. And this is by his own admission. I can later we can pull this up and go over all of this where Zack Snyder basically says it. So the actual Snyder movie that he ended up making was a huge compromise on his part. So he had to make various compromises with Warner Brothers for him to even continue on to Justice League. So why have him continue doing that when instead you could have had him, for instance, which would have been much better, focus on doing the Batman movie? Because that's more his style. It's clearly what he wanted to do. It's clearly what he's more interested in. His favorite comic is The Dark Knight Returns, which is about Batman. Right? So, in any case, these reshoots now, he's getting these reshoots done, which I find just incredible in terms of this story, right? Because basically, I hope you'll notice, anybody who watches how Snyder runs, basically, he's a brilliant campaigner, a brilliant campaigner at what he's doing. Basically, his campaign has been done to a T to raise interest in the Snyder Cut, to lie that the Snyder Cut actually existed when it did not. And now the Snyder cult, who for years were saying release the Snyder Cut because we know it exists, we know it's already done, everything is done, now they have to go back on what they're saying. But they won't do that. They won't admit that they were wrong. They'll say, oh, that's what we meant, that the Snyder Cut still needed to do VFX on it. But now it not only needs to do VFX, it needs additional photography. It needs to shoot scenes with the cast. So this Snyder Cut really wasn't done. And what this means, and this is the brilliant part of the coup of what Zack Snyder is doing. All this basically means is that Zack Snyder not only gets to fix his vision, but he actually gets to do a lot of fan service as well. So, for instance, I don't think Darkseid was meant to be in the original Snyder Cut beyond a cameo at the end of the film. Maybe he was going to show up in the battle scene against, against the gods and all of that crap, with the Atlanteans and the Themis, the Amazonians fighting together against, against Darkseid. Maybe he was meant to show up in that, and then maybe I will even give them this. He was meant to show up right at the end of the movie, as it said, when Steppenwolf had been defeated. But this additional photography tells me that Zack Snyder, knowing that the Snyder cult and Snyder cultists can look to the film at the end of it and say, oh, look, see, this is what we would have got. This is what we would have got if Zack Snyder had have just been allowed to continue his vision. We would have got Darkseid all through the film. It would have been Darkseid as the villain instead of Steppenwolf. Bullshit. First of all, the movie wouldn't have been 4 hours long. Okay, so it wouldn't have had time for you to put a pepper more Darkseid in than was originally in the film. Yeah? You're not putting a 4-hour film into a cinema. That film would have been 2 hours and a half max. 3 hours. Even if it was Zack Snyder's own vision, he would have cut it down to 3 hours. Okay, this 4-hour stuff is only because it's coming out on HBO Max. Okay. Secondly, he's now claiming that he wants to put people like, and we'll see this later on, and we'll talk about this a little bit later on as well. He wants to put Green Lantern in there. He wants to put a Martian Manhunter in there. And you notice how all of Zack Snyder's new basically ideas that weren't around. Nobody was talking about Martian Manhunter being in this movie when Zack Snyder was directing this project. No one was talking about surprise things of surprise appearances by characters like Martian Manhunter. Just was not happening. Harry Lennox, the guy who's now supposed to be Martian Manhunter, which is complete BS. It's going to mess up Martian Manhunter's character, basically. Right? It's complete BS that this guy is being cast as Martian Manhunter. Right? This was a fan theory found before any Zack Snyder or anybody else in Warner Brothers had talked about Harry Lennox being... This fan theory came from... I heard it from around the time of Man of Steel. This is something that Zack Snyder is putting in as fan service, so that when the Snyder Cut comes out, everyone's going to be saying how lit it is, how lickety-splittity it is, when it was never meant to be this. And he's hoping from there he can slowly wangle his way back into the DCEU again. And it's not going to be good for the DCEU. It's only going to be good for Snyder cultists. So that's my position. I'll continue on.
Their scoopers insisted I was wrong, and that Warner Brothers had only greenlit post-production completion of what had already been found. That is, as I told you, and as you can now see, wrong. I think it sucks that this is how it got out. This is how it got confirmed. But the Hollywood Reporter, they're going before cameras for the Snyder Cut in October. So this October, right around the corner, it's so exciting. Woo! So what kind of additional photography are we talking about here?
Hey, perp-minded. How you doing?
That half of the Green Lantern scene has been filmed. The Batman half. Ooh! So that means they just have to film the other half of the scene, which should be very easy to do with Green Lantern. He flies, he's got an electric... Well, we'll see what kind of suit Zack Snyder puts him in. But I have heard that he wants Ryan Reynolds. I think, considering how important nostalgia is these days, and that Ryan Reynolds' Green Lantern came out at around the time that these other movies were coming out, I think it would be just absolutely perfect to do it that way. And Ryan Reynolds has been, active on Twitter, signaling that he's open to this.
Okay, so here we go again, all right? We have reshoots now that are going to bring Ryan Reynolds into the Justice League. We have reshoots now. Let me just listen to this again. I will give you that maybe there was a slim chance that there was going to be some reference, to the Green Lantern in Justice League, the original version of Snyder's Justice League. That maybe you would even have got a silhouetted version of Green Lantern to suggest that in Justice League 2 the new Green Lantern was coming. But what I will not believe, not for a single fucking second, because it makes no sense, and also we know this from the Deadpool movies and what Ryan Reynolds was saying from the Deadpool movies, that there was any single motherfucking chance that Ryan Reynolds was coming back for the Snyder Cut to be the Green Lantern, to have a cameo. This is something injected post the situation, post the beer bug, to ensure that people are liking the Snyder, that when people watch the Snyder Cut, they're going to have, fangasms from how lit this is. Oh my God, see, he would have even put, given us, the Green Lantern again. That's what they're saying. He would have even given us the Green Lantern again. He would have given us Ryan Reynolds as Green Lantern. No, he would not have. It was not even possible. Ryan Reynolds was playing Deadpool and was making fun of his Green Lantern appearances. There is no way that Zack Snyder would have pulled off this happening without Fox going under, and therefore Ryan Reynolds being free from any superhero projects, and therefore needing now a new one, and now coming back trying to pretend he wants to be Green Lantern again. From everything I heard, it was the person that Warner Brothers were looking for the Green Lantern, and basically also, and this is important because there was a film that was going to be it was like a secret film from DC fandom that was actually going to be announced at DC fandom. That secret film, every day I'm more and more sure that was going to be Jeff Johns' Green Lantern Corps, and the person they were looking for to play Hal Jordan was Mark Wahlberg. Right? They wanted him as the new Green Lantern Hal Jordan, and it was going to be a buddy cop thing between John Stewart and Hal Jordan. And it was going to be more focused in space. Now I'm starting to get an idea of why this project was cancelled. First of all, there was a pincer movement, as a temporal pincer, as they would say. As Nolan would say from Tenet. Basically, there was the attack from Ray Fisher on Jeff Johns, so they didn't want the controversy of Jeff Johns being in the DC fandom. And then secondly, and this is more important, maybe Snyder came to them around the same time saying, hey, you know what? I've heard that, that this guy is going to be... that Ryan Reynolds might be interested in doing a cameo of Green Lantern in my movie. So, just FYI. So, this would be really big if he does this. And therefore, they were like, oh, okay, now we have to think about whether we want to make the announcement of the Green Lantern Corps, because we don't know if Ryan Reynolds is going to be back as Green Lantern anymore, because we want to see what the state of play is once the Snyder Cut comes out, do people still want him as Green Lantern? And let me tell you, Green Lantern and Ryan Reynolds, I actually liked him as Green Lantern, so it's not a problem with Ryan Reynolds at all. He was actually fairly good as Green Lantern, and Green Lantern has its problems, but as a whole, I don't think it's as bad as a movie, but as people make out. But having said that, this is completely and utterly, again, I can't state this more, this was never going to happen. This was never, ever going to happen at the time that Zack Snyder wanted to, was making the Justice League. Wasn't going to happen. So why is this in the movie? He said himself in an interview, the idea is to make this as close to the original as possible. No, he is not. He's lying. He's feeding everyone. He's playing off all sides. What he's doing is changing the movie so that DC fans, everyone is on board with it, and then it'll be like, oh, okay, now we'll be like, oh, we made a mistake. Yeah, let's bring Zack Snyder back. Let's bring old Ben Affleck Batman back. Let's bring all of these guys back. And then it will be the same thing, because this guy doesn't learn. This guy does not learn. He does not learn from Man of Steel to BVS to the Justice League. He does not learn. He has an ultimate vision of how DC characters are, which when people criticize it, him and his Snyder cult get defensive and start, going, oh, you're living in a dream world if you think superheroes aren't corrupt. You're living in a dream world if you think Batman and Superman aren't I can't even remember what he said, something about, that they don't support corrupt governments and embezzle money and all of this bullshit. That's what he says, because he cannot learn from criticism, and that will seep in to him taking more and more control as he becomes more and more aligned with people at AT&T, who are now telling Warner Brothers how to run their business. So let's continue this. Please do me a favor. Give me a high five. Do smash that like button if you're enjoying the discussion.
That's why there can be some of you have been like, but what about the hints of who Green Lantern was back when the movie was being filmed? Well, that's because the scenes were not filmed. They are at least not.
Yeah, they weren't filmed. So why are they going to be in the new Snyder Cut?
So they could swap in Ryan Reynolds. And that other guy, as I've said before, Zack Snyder is a prolific filmmaker. You can give that actor another opportunity. I think that.
So there was already an actor who was supposed to be playing Green Lantern. She's saying in the original Snyder movie, who is now being fired, right? And they're bringing in Ryan Reynolds just so that he can juice up his movie and make this the Snyder fans and DC fans all excited about him taking over at Warner Brothers, basically, or him taking over or having a significant place at least in the DCEU. That's what he's trying to do. Maybe he'll be responsible for Justice League 2 or something along those lines, right? Maybe he's aiming, this is what he's gearing for, so that he can make his Justice League 2 movie without any studio interference whatsoever, so he can make his vision of what the Justice League would be in like a 3-part series if the Snyder Cut is a success, right? So here we go. He's fired somebody who had a job, right? The thing that they're accusing Jeff Johns, Josh Whedon of doing, of not being loyal to the people who were on the Snyder movie and firing people, cutting down people's scenes so that people, this is basically what he is now doing. He's doing this himself. There was a guy originally meant to play Green Lantern. Boom, you're out of here. Bring in Ryan Reynolds. Completely disloyal to this guy, who was probably meant to be Hal Jordan. So Snyder is not above firing people in order to help out his own career, which is exactly what Joss Whedon did. He said, look, we don't need you for my vision of the film. Was it a mistake to bring Joss Whedon on that late in the process? Was Jeff Johns foolish to do so? Abso-fucking-lutely. But this is not the point of this. This is about people trying to edge and cancel careers just in order to forward or advance the situation of Zack Snyder in the DC universe. And he's doing this at the cost of everyone. Because if he's the one encouraging Ray Fisher to throw his career down the drain, as he is doing, then that is beyond wrong. Zack Snyder staying quiet, asking, some guy, or encouraging him, continue on, man, do this, encouraging Jason Momoa to give him support. Yeah, give him support so that he can continue on this crusade, which is never going to win him anything unless he was molested or somebody went on a racist tirade with him on set. This is going to win him nothing. And also he has to have proof of this, by the way. So anyway, I'm going to reserve judgment on what Ray Fisher's part of this is and what Jeff Johns apparently has done to him. But we'll see the smear campaign continue with Jeff Johns on this video. But I am reserving judgment on the Ray Fisher aspect. But we'll see as the Snyder cult, and this is why I'm saying Grace Randolph, thanks to Zack Snyder, giving her an interview. Basically he gave her an interview. And people, I'm telling you, Patty Jenkins, if you know what's good for you, reach out to somebody like Grace Randolph right now and give her interviews. Don't let Zack Snyder become the man of the people, the man of the YouTubers, and be the only one granting interviews like that. Reach out, Walter Hamada. Reach out, Matt Reeves. Because Zack Snyder giving interview, I was thinking, why is Zack Snyder giving Grace Randolph an interview? I know she knows people, but this is big. That is much bigger than her paid, like a full-on Snyder Cut exclusive interview. That was all part of his strategy. He's got a loyal Snyder cultist in Grace Randolph. She's now having phone calls with him, personal private phone calls with him. She has become a Snyder cultist. She has been converted.
People talking about the Snyder Cut that makes it must see every week. It's 4 1-hour episodes, and as I told you, a little extra something afterwards each week. And I think having Ryan Reynolds show up one week as Green Lantern and redeeming himself, I mean, it's just a perfect story, is fantastic. And again, I believe that's why Zack Snyder and his team want that.
And Zack Snyder, I believe Zack Snyder told her this. I believe Zack Snyder told her this in private so that she would leak this out. She would leak such information out. I don't believe she's just making this up at all.
Filming of the Martian Manhunter elements and more scenes with the rest of the Justice League, including Cyborg. As Zack said in my interview with him, he is making his ideal 4-hour Justice League, and this additional photography is to make that happen. So again, it's to pick up some things that they didn't get to do before the unfortunate situation that happened with Warner Brothers and Jeff Johns. We'll talk about Jeff Johns in a moment. Jeff Johns is the one who replaced him with Joss Whedon. That was all Jeff Johns.
That was all Jeff Johns, was it? That was all Jeff Johns. Do you hear that? That was all Jeff Johns. As if Jeff Johns has the power to replace Zack Snyder from the Justice League and take him off without Warner Brothers wanting that. You're telling me that everybody in Warner Brothers wanted Zack Snyder to stay, right? all of the execs, think about what she's saying, because people don't think when they listen to this bullshit. So Jeff Johns, by himself, it was all Jeff Johns. Forget Josh Whedon, who was the original person that they were accusing of being abusive. It was all Jeff Johns, only him, who wanted Zack Snyder gone. Ah, cool, man. What's sorry, Perp-minded, are you? Sorry, I'm just trying to figure out who. Have I done a thing with you before, Perp-minded? But anyway, tell me. So you're good. Thanks for joining us, Perp-minded. So as I was saying, with this bullshit. So Jeff Johns, apparently, according to Grace Randolph, is the only person. He was solely responsible for taking Zack Snyder off the project of Justice League. You're telling me higher ups than Jeff Johns didn't go to him? Please, this is a nightmare. I don't think Justice League is going to do well with Zack Snyder helming it. Everyone thinks DC is a joke. Wonder Woman has just done well for us. Can you think of something? Maybe even Jeff Johns came up with the idea to bring Josh Whedon on. I don't mind saying that. Probably did. Maybe it was his idea to bring Josh Whedon on. But to say or suggest that it was only him that was responsible for taking Zack Snyder off the project is ludicrous. Absolutely ludicrous. Not anyone with with a pea brain can figure out, with a company as complex as an organization as Warner Brothers is, that there has to be more than just a single individual who wants to derail a project, turn it from 3 hours to 2 hours, who wants to take away the who wants to remove the director from his position, who they feel so drastically that they want to do all of these things. There has to be, if it was just Jeff Johns, what is Jeff Johns, the dictator? Does he own Warner Brothers? Everyone had to agree. All the higher ups, or at least most of them, a majority of them, would have had to agree that they want Zack Snyder off this project, that he's been effing up. Jeff Johns may have been one of the people, may have been one of the outspoken voices in that camp even. Probably because he loves Superman. He's a comic book writer who's written, runs on Superman and absolutely loves and adores the character, and probably couldn't stand to see what Zack Snyder was doing with the Justice League, and that was the fanboy in him. He shouldn't have let the fanboy in him take over, and he probably was disrespectful and mean to cast and crew because of his passion for these characters. Right? Something that I may well have been if I was in that situation, because I have a passion for Superman. I have a passion for the DC characters, and to see what Zack Snyder was doing with them and what he had planned to do with them would have ticked me off as well. So in terms of who is responsible, I would say Jeff Johns probably was a very loud voice in that camp. And he came at it from a fanboy perspective rather than from a financial perspective. He should have said, nope, we let Zack Snyder go after this Justice League movie. Let him finish his work, or alternatively, put him on a movie that makes sense to him. Maybe have him start developing the Watchmen versus the Justice League or something like that. Get somebody else on Justice League Part 2. Give this man a cookie. Right? That's what they should have been doing. Sorting out, look, Zack Snyder is a major talent visually. The way he directs an action scene. This guy is a talent we want to keep on board. How can we keep him on board while not having him have such control over the DCEU? That's what they should have been thinking, and that's what Jeff Johns should have been thinking, instead of being a fanboy and derailing a movie when it was halfway complete and shot. And I admit that. I agree with that. But is that a reason to cancel Geoff Johns? He made a mistake. Power went to his head. So we ought to cancel him now? I mean, what is the world coming to? And so, yeah, in any case, so this is what I was saying about her becoming enamored with Zack Snyder after this interview, and now blaming Geoff Johns. I want to repeat this again. Blaming Geoff Johns completely, all his fault, 100% him for getting Zack Snyder off the movie. Absolute nonsense. Couldn't happen. Impossible. Other people had to be involved for that to have worked.
So this would not only allow him to do that, but to tweak it and make it again the thing, his ideal version of Justice League. I think
no, it's not his ideal version of Justice League. It's a Justice League that he's looked at many fan. People wanted Ryan Reynolds back. People wanted Harry Lennox or whatever, that general, to be Martian Manhunter. This was all things online, theories that fans had, and he's just read those theories and said, "Oh, you know what I can do to make to make everyone love my Snyder Cut? I'm going to put all of those guys in it." That's what he's done.
So does Ray Fisher need to be a part of this additional photography? Well, Zack has said he is the heart of his film. But who knows how much of Cyborg's storyline is already in the can. From my sources, I haven't heard what this case is with Cyborg and what needs to be shot. I'm sure, though, that no matter what is going on with additional photography, Ray Fisher would like to be part of the publicity campaign. But you can understand why Warner Brothers, from their perspective, doesn't want to hand him a microphone right now. So look, let me just say, what do I think of the controversial part of this story? Oh, it's all controversial, but what do I think of the Warner Brothers versus Ray Fisher situation? They have a common enemy here, man. I don't know why everybody wants to...
Hey, perp-minded, by the way, if you're watching still, if you want to join the stream, I can. We can do a discussion later after my reaction.
Independently at this point, privately, who don't know each other. They all approach me because of my ongoing coverage. So it's been over the course of my talking about how horrible Geoff Johns is.
Okay, here we go. So Grace Randolph has fully gone over to the Snyder cult here. We'll start this off. Just remember that 4 people have come to her independently, right? 4 people, she's saying, have come to her independently and said that Geoff Johns is a monster. That's according to her. That, he's difficult to work with. So let's just keep that in mind. 4 people, right? 4 people have come to her independently.
All of these people came to me and they said he is a nightmare and he is responsible for derailing our careers. It makes me sad that Zack Snyder, I was just talking to somebody, in fact, this weekend. We had a very nice conversation about, it was a pleasant conversation between the two of us, but the things I heard about Geoff Johns, I thought it got even worse.
All right, here's the thing. If you've heard such bad things about Geoff Johns, why don't you just say what they are? You've got this channel. They're not going to sue you. Say what they are. Say what the bad things are. Woo! Just leave it in the air so for everyone to imagine what it possibly is. Say what it is. What have you heard about Geoff Johns?
But the fact that Zack Snyder, if he had never run into Geoff Johns, he never would have had to go through all of this.
Oh, God. So he would have never had to go through his daughter committing suicide, essentially. His daughter or is that Geoff Johns' fault as well, I suppose? I really don't understand. The thing that happened is his daughter commits suicide, and stupidly, Warner Brothers, probably with Geoff Johns as one of the voices, said, "Oh, this is our opportunity to get this guy who has been effing up off of Justice League." Rather than compromising or doing something else, they decided to try and take him completely off the project and bring in a ballbuster in Josh Whedon to put everyone on the Justice League production in line. That's what happened. Okay, so he ruined my career. He ruined my career. It's like, tell us what happened then. Do you know how many powerful people? I think it's probably impossible. Whether it's Zack Snyder, Diane Lane, any of those people who are in higher up positions, for them to have never ever. There's an interesting tagline for the Social Network movie. The Social Network movie said this as its tagline. If you're going to make 1 billion friends, you can't do it without making some enemies. So if you're going to make 1 billion friends or 1 million friends, I can't remember what it is, you can't do it without making some enemies. Jeff Johns could not have got to the position that he was in, where he was head of creative at Warner Brothers Studios, without ruining some careers, without getting in the way of some people. Zack Snyder couldn't have become a major Hollywood director without getting in the way of some people. In fact, we can see it right now. Zack Snyder and his cult are now going after Jeff Johns, using proxies, using other people to get rid of a man's career, to cancel him from Hollywood, to cancel him from DC, to cancel him from Warner Brothers. So, hence, can't make 1 million friends without gaining some enemies. Can't do it. It's impossible to do. So Jeff Johns here, of course, in the thousands and of people, hundreds of thousands of people he's worked with, working at a major corporation, has stepped on some toes. There are some people who like him, some people who dislike him. I've heard many people who've said Jeff Johns is an outstanding guy. I can read you the various people who've said Jeff Johns is absolutely a really nice guy, and he's only been nice to me. So all of this, attack on Jeff Johns. If you've got something bad, say it. Don't leave it up to our imagination. Just say, ooh, you can't imagine the things people have said about Jeff Johns. If you know it, say it. It's not like you're in Ray Fisher's. You're not doing some investigation where you have to keep everything private. Just say what it is. You don't even have to give away your contacts or whatever the people who have been speaking to you are. You don't have to give away them. You just have to say, oh, was he racist? They say he was racist. They say he was sexually, he not sexually assaulting, but sexually harassing interns. Say what it is. Say what, say, oh, this is, at least tell us the nature of these allegations against Jeff Johns that make him a monster. Anyway, so let's go continue.
Quite sad, and apparently that's been the case for a lot of people. Everyone should stay away from Jeff Johns, career-wise. I think it's a disaster. So someone from the creative.
So everyone should stay away from Jeff Johns career-wise. Why? What has Jeff Johns done career-wise to people that has messed up their career versus what Zack Snyder has done? This guy right here, your boy Ray Fisher, can't even get a movie because he was in Zack Snyder's films. What's going on? What has Jeff Johns done? You mean Jeff Johns, who greenlit Shazam, who made Aquaman a thing, who helped out on Aquaman, making it $1 billion? Jeff Johns, right? Versus Zack Snyder, who makes movies where people, even big stars like Henry Cavill, can't get a sequel to his own fucking Superman movie. That was Zack Snyder. That wasn't Jeff Johns. Jeff Johns had nothing to do with that. Your Batman had to quit. What's his name? The Batman guy who was miscast in the first place, had to quit after 2 movies. After 2 movies. Ben Affleck, the Batfleck, had to quit after 2 movies because he met Zack Snyder. Because Zack Snyder directed his movie. He has to quit after 2 movies being Batman because basically his Batman, as good as he performed it, You know, Ben Affleck was really good, surprised me, surprised everyone with how good he was. Still miscast in my opinion, but at least he surprised me. Wasn't his fault. His performance, his performance was good. Solid performance. I think there could have been a better guy to do it, but it was a solid performance nonetheless. But couldn't get a new Batman movie. So that's 2. What does Patty Jenkins do for her boy? Patty Jenkins for her girl. Gal Gadot, massive. They want a new movie for her. What does Aquaman guy or the guy who directed Shazam? They want new movies for both of them. Career's not over. Career's still going. Can get acting jobs. These are the people that Jeff Johns worked with, not Zack Snyder. So again, bullshit. This is a complete rewriting of history to make Zack Snyder somebody that he absolutely is not. And I like Zack Snyder. I defend BVS. I think Batman v Superman is really, really misunderstood as a movie. Mainly because of the writer, I will admit. I think the writer did a great job with some scenes. I think the casting was a little bit off, and the casting distracted from how potentially good that movie could have been. And also, again, doubling down on the Superman darkness, which shows, again, can't take criticism. I know better than everyone. I'm Zack Snyder. I know Superman. You don't. Everyone's telling you that ain't Superman. No, I know Superman. And you've got your cultists who agree with you. So, again, don't run into Jeff Johns. He's going to ruin your career. That's what we're going with. Okay, let's see. While this is going on, I hate these adverts. Come on, get rid of it. Come on. Adverts.
Someone from the executive branch has come to me. Someone in publicity has come to me. And someone from DC Comics has come to me. You know, someone who worked as a suit there. And I also heard from these people, Jeff Johns has been reported to Human Resources by other people, and that people who even worked for him on Stargirl, which was well received. But I heard from 2 different people. One person told me that Jeff Johns had no idea what he was doing with Stargirl, and it's a miracle the show turned out so great because he was really holding it back and was just way in over his head. He wouldn't admit it. And then I heard from another person that most of the people on that show hate him. They just can't stand work.
This is starting to make my head hurt. It really is. What a smear campaign. What a smear campaign. I cannot believe I'm hearing these words out of her mouth. This is just absolutely turning into a Snyder cult smear campaign. So, first of all, let's just go back to this here, right? So,
Johns has been reported to Human Resources by other people, and that people who even worked for him on Stargirl, which was well received. But I heard from 2 different people. One person told me that Jeff Johns had no idea what he was doing with Stargirl, and it's a miracle the show turned out.
So we've heard from creative, we've heard from executive, we've heard from publicity, we've heard from DC Comics, right? So 4 people have come out personally to Grace Randolph. Why they've come to Grace Randolph, I have no idea. What has she got to do with anything? Why would they come to Grace Randolph? Maybe she knows them. I presume she knows them, or Zack Snyder put them onto her so that she could do this report. But again, this is 4 people. 4 people cannot speak for everyone. Okay, she's heard this from 4 people. 4 people cannot speak for everyone. I'm sure if I had a channel with 1 million viewers and I could get an interview with Jeff Johns and he could give me a few links to people who hate Zack Snyder, I'm sure I could get, because somebody hated Zack Snyder who worked with him. In fact, I'm quite sure quite a few people hated Zack Snyder who worked with him at Warner Brothers, because they got rid of him off the Justice League movie. So they didn't like him. So there were a few people. It wasn't just Jeff Johns who didn't like Zack Snyder. So 4 people have come and told you, and this is so conclusive. This evidence is so conclusive that Jeff Johns is a monster. And by the way, I'm not defending Jeff Johns. If that's what you think this video is about, this is about me defending Jeff Johns. This is about this particular video and this hit job, and how and how I see it's clearly shaping a path, trying to influence minds towards getting Zack Snyder back into position. I don't know what Jeff Johns did or did not do. All I can tell you is that 4 people coming to Grace Randolph, who don't even have the balls to say it in, say it to the Hollywood Reporter, or or come out and actually say shit in the media. They're going to come to Grace Randolph's YouTube channel, her little YouTube channel, to out Jeff Johns, rather than go to a major publication and say, hey, Jeff Johns is a real monster. He really is. He's ruining people's careers. He flirts with all the young interns, and suggests that they can get jobs if they blow him off. Why aren't they going to that? Why aren't they going to Dylan Farrow? Yeah, the guy, the journalist Dylan Farrow, who outed Harvey Weinstein. Why aren't they going to people like that and saying, you've got to take a closer look at Jeff Johns. He's a real monster. Why are they going to Grace fucking Randolph? Other than this is a smear campaign. Okay, a little ripple in the ocean meant to amplify voices. So they've got 1 person from creative, 1 executive, 1 publicity, and 1 person at DC Comics. Oh, that's nice. That's a nice little neat round off of people. 1 from creative, 1 from executive, to show that everywhere he's been a monster. Even at DC Comics, where he had not even that much power, still he's been a monster. Okay, so they got 1 from creative. So she makes sure that, I'm going to get 1 from every job he's ever had. Yeah, I'm going to get 1 from everyone, from every place that he could have, been involved in. Right? So she does that. Very clever, Grace Randolph. I'm noticing all of your tricks. It's very good. And then she goes on to say, as I've stated, that she's got this 1 person from each of these, which tells her that everyone hates him. She goes so far as to say, she forgot about 2 other people from Stargirl, his new TV show, where, as far as I've seen, everyone seems to be a happy family and like him. And even that, where he's done well, it's a miracle. And the fact that that the TV show is good and it is being well received is nothing to do with Jeff Johns or the fact that he wrote it or the fact that he's been a showrunner on it. It's all in spite of him that other people are making it good. What the fuck is going on? What is going on? What fantasy fucking world are they living in? He's the guy who's the showrunner of the TV show. It's doing good. You're trying to attack him on that, trying to suggest that people in there don't like him when they've come on and said they like him. Oh, it's so good to hang out with him. It's so good to. What is going on? So let's continue this. And people have, reported him to HR. Here's something, Grace Randolph. Rather than using social media to try and end someone's career, why don't you tell us what he did? Why don't you say, look, allegedly he did this. I don't know. I have sources. I'm not going to out my sources, but allegedly he did this. I'm not going to take sides because I have no proof yet. But this is what he did. That's what journalism is.
He was really holding it back and was just way in over his head and wouldn't admit it. And then I heard from another person that most of the people on that show hate him. They just can't stand working.
Most of the people on the show hate him.
Even described Jeff Johns to me as a functioning sociopath. Can you believe?
Accusing him of being a sociopath. This is how far the Snyder cult has gone. This is how far the Snyder cult has gone. He's a functioning sociopath. Jeff Johns. Not a man who, power went to his head. He was a big Superman fan. This is a guy who actually worked, and it was probably the dream of his life to work with the Superman director of Superman 78. And he worked for him as an intern. Why am I forgetting his freaking name? Richard Donner. Worked with Richard Donner as an intern. Loved Superman. Probably wrote a letter to Richard Donner saying how much, he wants to work with him because he's a huge DC fan and Superman has changed his life. The movie changed his life, and he wants to, and he'd do anything to work with him. And Richard Donner obviously said, come work with me, work on set with me as an intern. I'll get you into the business. And then Jeff Johns made his career from there. Now, this isn't to say, this is a sweet story about Jeff Johns. This is to show the passion that Jeff Johns has for these characters. He may have done some foolish things, really foolish things, but I don't think it's because he's a sociopath at all. I think it's because he cares, he loves these characters. He loves them. He loves Superman. You can see from reading his books, reading Shazam, reading, all of his runs, the amount of love. I've never read a comic book writer who shows so much love to the history of these characters as Jeff Johns. And the reason, again, I'm saying this is not a defense of Jeff Johns, but rather to tell you exactly the perspective he was coming from when he was seeing Zack Snyder have Superman snap people's necks and everyone turning against Superman. Superman can't even get his own sequel. It has to involve Batman. This must have been destroying Jeff Johns inside. And he should have been a professional. He should have taken his fanboy hat off and done his job and ensured that the film came out the best it possibly could be and been on that side. But he was blinded by love of these characters and did something foolish, obviously. Right? And that's my position. But to call him a functioning sociopath because he's a passionate person. If you're going to make those kind of claims, tell us what he did. Tell us what he did that was sociopathic. Did he murder a fucking an intern and bury her in Vegas? What the fuck makes him sociopathic? Because he didn't agree with some people and derailed their careers because he didn't want them on his set. Because he didn't want to work with them? That makes him a sociopath? This is crazy stuff, man. Because 4 people don't like Jeff Johns, he's a sociopath. That's the underlying meaning of this.
Leave it. I mean, look, I'm glad that Walter Hamada and the higher-ups have had a good experience with Johns. I'm not surprised because...
So everyone doesn't hate him.
For them, Jeff Johns only, blows shit downward. But they should realize that he is universally hated by everyone that he works for. I mean, I really think they should take a moment, take a pause, go say, hey guys, we liked working with Jeff Johns, but safe space, I guess that's, maybe this is what Ray Fisher wants out of his investigation, but he should clarify that. We'll talk about Ray Fisher in a moment. But I think if they were to have like someone to do like anonymous conversations with people, they would find out that pretty much everyone who's ever worked for Jeff Johns hates him. And then they'd be like, why are we fighting for this guy? And we wouldn't have to go through all this.
If everyone who worked for Jeff Johns hated him, he would have a far worse reputation by now. None of these allegations came out until Ray Fisher. And Ray Fisher's target, let's not forget this. This has become all about Jeff Johns all of a sudden. And I'm so sure it's because he was announcing a movie at DC Fandom. He was getting back in. People were seeing, oh, wait a second, Shazam did well, Aquaman did well. Maybe what Jeff Johns was doing wasn't that bad. Maybe he just came onto a film that couldn't be saved in Justice League. That there was no way to change it into what DC executives wanted it to do. And they were thinking, okay, maybe we need, maybe we don't have him as head of creative, but maybe we need Jeff Johns to help us sort out characters like Superman and Green Lantern because nobody knows them better than Jeff Johns. And I love a lot of other writers. I wish, like Mark Waid, I wish certain other comic book writers were in there as well, helping out. But Jeff Johns, I'm telling you, the love he puts into the history of the characters, I've never seen. There's maybe Greg Rucka is the only other guy I've seen who puts that amount of love. But, Jeff Johns has been a more consistent writer than someone like Greg Rucka or Simone or, mainly DC Comics is filled with Batman fanboys who aren't very good, Jeff Johns is one of the only ones who isn't just a Batman fanboy. He loves DC. He's got DC in the blood. And even he comes on, he does a Batman story. It's better than all of these guys who are Batman fanboys. DC's got a lot of fanboys in their midst. But anyway, apart from that, what I was saying is, again, everyone who works with Jeff Johns, it's 4 people, and that commits her to being able to say, he's a functioning sociopath, and everyone who works with him hates him, who's worked beneath him. I want to know, tell me one story, one little bit of a story. Tell me what they claimed. Was he racist? What was he? What makes him such a monster, as opposed to just maybe not a great boss? Or maybe they weren't great workers. Have you ever thought of that? Maybe they were just lazy. Maybe they weren't committed enough. Maybe they didn't live up to what he expected from somebody on his set. So there you go. Let's carry on with this.
Fisher.
And if this is the case, it's only people who work under him that he's an asshole to. Then what about Zack Snyder? He came for Zack Snyder. He came for him by the throat, clearly. He wanted him out. And he was wanting him out before even, anything happened with him firing him off Justice League, or before him having any power. In fact, a lot of comic book writers were pissed off with Zack Snyder about the Justice League. A lot of purist comic book writers, most comic book writers, don't like Man of Steel. They don't like the movie. Most of the comic book writers aren't really supportive of the way Superman and Batman were treated in Batman v Superman. If you go online, read reviews, Mark Waid doesn't like Man of Steel. Biggest Superman fan, doesn't like Man of Steel. Jeff Johns is not the only comic book writer. He just happens to be the only comic book writer, the only one of these guys who's passionate about these characters, who got in a position of power, who could oust Zack Snyder. And he did it in a stupid way. Let's continue.
Jeff Johns' career is finished. Jeff Johns will never be able to go to another convention or do another interview.
Look, so happy that she's been cancelled.
And you're never going to see Jeff Johns again. And I'm pretty sure that most fans will no longer flock to his work in comics or TV. Am I going to boycott Jeff Johns' comics and television? I don't even think that's necessary. I mean, he's fading away. Jeff Johns is done. pick what you like. I don't think people will run to it like they once did.
Jeff Johns is fading away. That's why he just sold like the biggest comic of the year. Jeff Johns is fading away. All right.
You know,
Yeah. Oh, you're reading Three Jokers. Yeah. You're watching Doom Patrol. You're watching Stargirl. Jeff Johns is fading away. You're delusional.
been a producer.
But this is what they want. They want him to fade away. They don't want him to have anything to do with the DCEU. And the fact is, for the most part, he's actually been good for it. Truth. That is the truth. They can't handle it. The Batman, based on his work, based on his Earth 1, Batman Earth 1, right? Where he was the first one who wasn't a Batman Joker fanboy who actually gave the Riddler a storyline worth doing. Now, that is being used by Matt Reeves in the Batman movie. Oh, let's have another look. Shazam, completely based on Jeff Johns' work. Oh, let's have another look. Aquaman, completely based on Jeff Johns' work. All of the successful stuff is based on Jeff Johns' work. The Wonder Woman is actually the Wonder Woman movie, which Jeff Johns helped to write. I found out he helped finish off, and people are always saying that he was against. He was the one who was against the No Man's Land scene. Absolute BS. If you hear that, it's bullshit. It was somebody who was working within the film production who was against it was nobody at Warner Brothers looking at the film saying that they didn't want the No Man's Land scene. It was somebody working within the company. So then there's Wonder Woman 1984. Again, Jeff Johns co-written. Okay, so Patty Jenkins did not go back to Zack Snyder to help her write Wonder Woman 1984. She went to Jeff Johns to help her write it. Okay, there's things I'm hearing that I don't necessarily like about what I'm hearing about that, like it's more comedic and stuff like that, which I don't like, but we'll see. I like the trailers so far. Hopefully they've knocked it out the park, but we'll see. If they have knocked it out the park with Wonder Woman 1984, Jeff Johns is going to be a little bit popular again. So this smear campaign is really, and they're coming, and this is another thing, this is the beauty of this, they're coming after Patty Jenkins as well, and I'll prove it to you. These arseholes are coming after Patty Jenkins, someone who's done nothing. So this shows, relatively speaking, what the Snyder cult is all about. It's not about Jeff Johns or anything like that. That just happens to be a casualty. What they're really about, what this is really about, is making way for Zack Snyder to take over the DC universe. So let's look. Patty Jenkins. I love this one. You're gonna love this. Patty Jenkins, jealous of Zack Snyder. This is the one they're trying to roll with, because they want the people to turn against Wonder Woman 1984. Is Patty Jenkins jealous of Zack Snyder? That's the latest one from the Snyder cult. Idiots. Complete morons.
Nová kolekce Blanchport podzim zima je tady. Objev.
So they're trying to get people to turn against Patty Jenkins as well. Okay? Turn against Patty Jenkins' movie. So this just goes to show proof that these guys will take out any enemy of Zack Snyder, no matter who, or a perceived enemy of Zack Snyder. Because the fact is, if Jeff Johns steps down and they get rid of Jeff Johns, Patty Jenkins is the next in line to be the powerhouse over at DCEU. If Wonder Woman 1984 does well. And they know that. They know that. I don't think Patty Jenkins will probably take the job, but they want to make sure that she doesn't. Okay? In the end, that's what they want to make sure. So we'll go over to that. As you can see, the Snyder cult. Is Patty Jenkins jealous of Zack Snyder? Okay, why would she? Is Zack Snyder jealous of Patty Jenkins? It should be the question. $100 million budget that Wonder Woman. She makes 800 and something million. Literally near 820 million. Only 60 million under Batman v Superman with guest appearance by Wonder Woman. So DC Trinity, directed by Zack Snyder, makes around 890 million. Wonder Woman alone makes 820 million. Who's jealous of who? Who can get their star a sequel? Okay, let's continue.
I'm still watching that. But the Emperor, has no colors. Everybody sees him now for what he is. And he's just gonna fit.
How does everyone see him for what he is when nobody has actually said what he's done?
I really admire Ray Fisher's accountability over entertainment equation that he signs his tweets with. But now he has to decide if he also feels that accountability is over career. Now, he has said to date that it is. He said he's willing to make that sacrifice. And if Fisher does continue with this fight, I urge him to explain why he's come forward now. Warner Brothers is accusing him of...
Okay, so this is good. So even the Snyder cult realizes now that this is derailing his career. They know he has. They probably know what he has, or what he's accusing Geoff Johns of, and probably it's of being a bad boss, being a grumpy boss, being a boss who maybe shouts at some people who are beneath him, which isn't the first person in Hollywood to do that. It's not the second, not the third, and possibly not going to be the last. Okay, who's maybe, he can be a bit of a bully, pushes his weight around a little, or maybe he's even learnt from what happened to him and thought, oh, fuck, what did I become? And now, people on Stargirl, as far as I know, are singing his praise of, how passionate he is about the project and how lovely it is to work with him. That's all I've heard from the Stargirl side. Right, so probably he even had a come to Jesus moment and realized, whoa, I was way out of whack. I let the power go to my head and I became an asshole. And he's trying to change up his image. Are people are not allowed redemption anymore? Are they not allowed to improve themselves after making a mistake? I mean, what is going on? All right, let's finish this.
And upset with script changes. Very, very strong accusations that have had weight within Hollywood. So Fisher really needs to offer a counter argument to those. I mean, they're very damning.
Yeah, why don't you? Why? Sorry, this is because I guess you can tell I'm passionate about this. Why don't you offer? You're supporting him. You know that these people have come out. Why don't you tell us something? Tell us what is so bad that Geoff Johns did, right? And also, Ray Fisher, it's true. His career is practically over now. He's been a sacrifice. You've sacrificed a young, talented black actor, who probably worked his ass off to get where he is. You've sacrificed him now for the Snyder cult, because nobody cares in the Snyder cult about Ray Fisher. Nobody cares about Cyborg. No one does. That's the truth of it. Cold hard facts. No one likes Cyborg in the Justice League. Who's a true Justice League fan. And Snyder cultists don't really like Ray Fisher. They only like him insofar as he is part of the Snyder cult. They're not running for this guy. They're not saying Hollywood hire this guy. He's bad things have happened to him. Please, give him another chance. In fact, hats off to Grace Randolph being the only one who seems to act in this Snyder cult, who actually seems to care about what this, assault on Warner Brothers, because he isn't just attacking Geoff Johns. He's attacking anyone who's in Snyder's way. He went after Walter Hamada as well. Brought Walter Hamada into this, who wasn't even around when all this Snyder cut stuff was happening, when Zack Snyder was being fired from his role on the Justice League. Right? He wasn't even around. Walter Hamada was not there. So, Ray Fisher has come after him. He's come after Geoff Johns. He's come after John Berg. They've all but forgotten about Josh Whedon. You never. I don't. Has Josh Whedon? How many times has his name even been mentioned in this video? Because before it was Jeff Johns who enabled the bad behavior by Josh Whedon. Now it's Jeff Johns himself.
Ray Fisher, by the way, with what happened with Jeff Johns. I really do. I told you I shared the Gal Gadot Wonder Woman story. It's, it was bad.
Yeah, the Gal Gadot Wonder Woman story. The Gal Gadot Wonder Woman story that has gone so far that Gal Gadot has come out. Yeah, is she coming out saying Jeff Johns did anything to her? Didn't he write her movie? So Gal Gadot is going to allow Jeff Johns to be writer. He's going to say, hey, Patty Jenkins, no problem. Jeff Johns can be a writer of the Wonder Woman movie, even though he locked me in a room and told me my career will be over if I don't get in line. You think that Gal Gadot would co-sign him writing and being executive producer of Wonder Woman 1984? Yeah, all right.
I think that this is out there now, and so that's what was needed to be done. And I think that also
rumors, hearsay, no proof.
What he wants to happen here? What's his end game? Because Joss Whedon, John Berg, and Jeff Johns films already, and their careers, again, they're circling the drain. Like really, like they're dead. Stop kicking them. Like they're dead. I think that it would help his argument if Fisher would talk about why he came forward now.
It would.
Why did he wait so long? Why now? Okay, well, he has to offer an alternate timeline to the one Warner Brothers is putting forward, because again, it's damning. And then he needs to say specifically what he wants to happen going forward, because Warner Brothers is like, what do you want? All of us to go? I mean, I think that I would urge Ray Fisher not to make an enemy of Warner Brothers. You guys should focus on a common enemy, and that's Jeff Johns. It's real simple. Cut him out. Let him go on his merry way, live his life. And then all the rest of us can move on, because now it's infected. It created the need for the Snyder Cut in the first place, and now it's putting it in danger again. It's just ridiculous. I mean, it's ridiculous. Personally,
This is a Snyder Cult message to Ray Fisher. An official Snyder Cult message to Ray Fisher. Cut it out. You've done enough damage. Let's leave this one alone. That's what it is. Probably by okay.
I feel that Ray Fisher has accomplished what he set out to do, and the next step for him should be to deliver an amazing performance of Cyborg in the Snyder Cut, and to make sure that he can do that, from the additional photography to being on that publicity campaign. It's going to be a nightmare either way, because everyone's going to ask why he's not there.
Right. So now they want him on the publicity campaign. He ain't going to be on the publicity campaign after what's been happening. So you finished his career. Well done. Well done. You sacrificed a young up-and-coming black star, deluded him with all these ideas, and sacrificed him in order to put Zack Snyder in a better position. And now you're realizing, wait a second, I have nothing. We have nothing. This means she doesn't know what the allegations that Ray Fisher has put against Jeff Johns are. She doesn't even know. She's just going off 4 people who've come to her. These four people, these brave guys who didn't go to the Hollywood Reporter or any other mainstream kind of places that release these kind of stories. Didn't go to them. They went to Grace Randolph, the YouTuber. And we're supposed to now believe that Grace Randolph has some new, bigger insights into the situation because she's spoken to 4 people. Has any sense? I mean, the way she's reporting this is bizarre. Like, as a journalist, there's a journalistic integrity to how you're supposed to report this. They allege that he did this. This is still hearsay. This is alleged. we can't make these accusations. We can only say there is this side, and this is what they have said about Jeff Johns. That's journalistic integrity. You do not take sides unless you're part of a cult. Unless you're like, oh, this guy granted me an interview. Oh, how wonderful that he would grant me this interview. So I'm just going to be full on in support of him, even though there are real reasons. Even though I'm a big defender of Batman v Superman. I don't like the way it treated Superman. I don't like the way it treated Batman in some of the aspects of it. But do I think it was a good film? Yes. Do I think it was a bold film? Do I think it was a swing and a possible miss? But I like big swings. I like big swings more than I like Ant-Man and safe movies like Endgame and other Marvel kind of movies. I like big swings like Winter Soldier. I like big swings like Batman v Superman. I like big swings like Captain America Civil War or Black Panther. I like the big swings. Movies that take chances. And that's what Zack Snyder did. So I defend him for doing that. For being an artist with a singular vision. What I don't like about Zack Snyder, and what I think he needs to improve on, because he made a masterpiece in The Watchmen when he respected the source material. When he doesn't respect the source material, like in Man of Steel, he makes divisive movies. Movies that divide audiences. Movies that divide fans. He makes movies like Batman v Superman, where I like it, but lots of people don't. Because it's divisive. Because he doesn't want to accept that in some ways, if you respect the source material, people will get on side with you. Or if you at least take on board what people are saying and use it to reflect upon yourself and reflect upon your own artistic projects, that people might be more receptive to what you're doing. Right? He didn't want to accept that. He doubled down, and he's in his situation. Zack Snyder is in his situation of his own making. This isn't Jeff Johns. Jeff Johns didn't direct or tell him to make a Batman v Superman. Jeff Johns didn't direct or tell him to make Man of Steel. He made those divisive movies. That was his fault. The only thing you can blame Jeff Johns for is acting stupidly and taking a director off a movie halfway through the movie's production. And then bringing on somebody to make it more like a Marvel movie. That was stupid. Absolutely idiotic. And Jeff Johns deserves to have got scolded for that. But what Jeff Johns has done since has proven that when he's on his project by him, starts the project by himself and gives, he gave directors freedom, because he believed in their vision to be able to do their movies like Aquaman, like Shazam, that pretty good movies come out of that. And what Walter Hamada has done, again, is prove that DC, when they go dark, they can do well. They can make billion-dollar movies. They can make movies that everyone is talking about, like The Batman.
So that's going to be... do we really want this surrounding the Snyder Cut? I don't want the Snyder Cut conversation to be about whether or not Ray Fisher is on the publicity tour. I want it to be a celebration of Zack Snyder's ideal 4-hour Justice League. That's what it should be. So I think that everybody should be working...
And again, I want to just mention again, these reshoots are bullshit. Either he had the film ready to go and he just needs VFX. It's just always something further. A little step further. Now he can recreate a movie that the Snyder cult can come over and say, oh, look at what Zack Snyder would have done if he had have been, directed the movie. That he's got years and years now of information about what people didn't like about the Justice League that he can now work on to improve his movie. As I said, there's going to be more Darkseid in it now. More presence of Darkseid. There's going to be Green Lantern. There's going to be Martian Manhunter. Maybe he might even fix the stupid scene where Superman beats the Justice League like they're little children. He might fix that because now he knows, oh, look, I can go back because that scene was his scene. The scenes that I didn't like in the movie were Zack Snyder scenes that Josh Whedon obviously agreed with because he's not that creative as well. Look at Age of Ultron. I didn't like that movie. I liked the Avengers movie, but I liked it more because of the concept of just bringing these heroes together rather than, you know, it was a good movie. I liked it, but it wasn't a big swing. It wasn't anything, you know, experimental or whatever. The only thing experimental was bringing these heroes together. Apart from that, it was a very run-of-the-mill, paint by the numbers movie. Had some good action set pieces. I'll give it that. Josh Whedon's Avengers, but it was a very by the numbers movie, and I like by the numbers movies sometimes. Sometimes that's just the way you know, one way to go. But it wasn't a big swing. It wasn't anything experimental. It wasn't anything challenging like some of Zack Snyder's movie, like Watchmen, which is an infinitely better movie than the Avengers. It's just infinitely better in almost every regard. The Watchmen, right? So again, Zack Snyder doing these reshoots, it's like it bothers me because when this 4-hour version comes out, I don't want to hear anyone saying, "I'll praise the movie for what it is, but I will not praise it for being the Zack Snyder cut that we were going to get in cinemas." This is a whole new movie that he's making now with these reshoots. He's making a completely different movie, so as to gain more towards his Snyder cult, and it ain't happening. I'm never going to join it. I see through it. Even if it's a brilliant movie, even if it's as good as The Watchmen or better than The Watchmen, I will know that you were able to scour around the internet, because I know this guy, Zack Snyder, loves reading and looking at fan ideas and stealing them and taking them as his own and incorporating them into his movies. And now he's doing that in hindsight. Oh, I'm going to take this idea from this post. Oh, yeah, what if Harry Lennox was actually Martian Manhunter? That's a good idea. Let me steal that, even though that's a stupid idea. Let me steal some idea here. Let me steal an idea there. And that's what he's doing at the moment. In order to make the Snyder Cut be one of the most lit fan service movies ever. And then he'll be like, oh yeah, that's what was always going to be the Snyder Vision. That was not going to be the Snyder Vision. It's a lie. AT&T, you're full of shit. Let him finish his VFX and that's it. That's all he should be doing.
Towards that at this point. I think this really needs to get wrapped up. So, and I think it would benefit Ray Fisher. Let him be a huge hit off of this whole thing. Let him be a huge hit off of his work in the Snyder Cut and the interviews that he gives, so that Warner Brothers has no choice to continue with the character. Although I gotta tell you, it's like pulling teeth getting more Henry Cavill Superman, even though all the fans have said that's what they want. But I told you, Warner Brothers doesn't like him, although Henry Cavill has been difficult. Although, who's really so difficult that at this point you wouldn't be like, well, people love him that much? I mean, he's had other successes, Mission Impossible, The Witcher. I feel, let's just go. You don't have to visit him on set. Let him be someone else's problem. Tell Danny Garcia to manage him, right? She wasn't his manager back then, so I'd be like, hey, Danny, I better not have him be a problem on set. I'm trusting you. And I'm sure Danny Garcia would be like, don't worry, I can take Henry Cavill. She is like a tough person in every use of the word. So yeah, that's what I would do. And I mean, Henry Cavill, even though he's not getting on, he's Superman is hopefully, I've reported, and you've seen it from other places reporting, that he's moving forward maybe with a Shazam and Black Adam cameo. But even beyond DC, Henry Cavill has gotten other great work, and Ray Fisher could too, as long as he's a part of the Snyder Cut. I think that's really, really important for him. I think, again, I think that Ray Fisher doesn't have to feel that he gave in or anything. I feel that he accomplished what he needed to. Everyone will remember.
Look, as far as what she's saying about Henry Cavill, everyone, it is true. A lot of people want him to join. The Snyder cult want him to be Superman. People who are not part of the Snyder cult want him to continue to be Superman mainly because of Josh Whedon's take on because nobody was supportive of him after BVS, people want Cavill back as Superman because of what Josh Whedon did at the end of Justice League. They like that Superman, that light-hearted, hopeful Superman. I didn't like him. I didn't like the Josh Whedon version or the Zack Snyder version. I want him gone. I want them to recast a new Superman in the Batman universe. Have a Metropolis there and get a director who knows what they're doing to do a new Superman movie, who will really look into his mythos and give us the best version of a modern day young Superman. I've seen the new animated film, the animated film, which is Man of Tomorrow. I would love a version of that, with a younger take on Clark Kent and Superman. A kind of year 1, year 2. Let's not go over too much of the origin movie, but actually focus a lot more on Clark Kent and his story. I'd like that. I don't want Henry Cavill back, but I will accept that I am one person, who is not part of the majority. The majority of people want Henry Cavill back, and therefore I think they should get Henry Cavill back and him do as best he can to do a proper Superman movie that will make Superman fans happy and will make the Snyder cult fans happy as well. But let's not forget that the Superman that they are saying that they love, that they like, is the Jeff Johns, Josh Whedon version of Superman. Henry Cavill was, the last 10 minutes, nobody was saying bring back Henry Cavill after Batman v Superman. No one liked him. No one wanted him. It was the Jeff Johns, Josh Whedon last 10 minutes of the Justice League movie is the Superman that people are asking and clamoring for and asking for Henry Cavill to come back as. Let's not forget that. Let's not try and make that it was Zack Snyder's version of Henry Cavill's Superman that people want back. It is not. I didn't like either version, but that the people have spoken. Give us a Henry Cavill movie in that tone. The last 10 minutes of the Justice League. Give us that movie. I'll even take that. But I don't think that's the sensible way to go about things. I think he was too cartoonish for me. I like a more realistic take on the Superman character, but just make him act like Superman, even though it's got a level of realism to it. Always trying to do the right thing, the Boy Scout, that kind of stuff. Add those characteristics to a more realistic take on Superman. That's what I want to see. What Snyder should have done, instead of being, I'm so big, I'm going to try and fix Superman and make him darker and make him brooding and make, Pa Kent be like, maybe you should allow children to die. I'm not interested in that Superman. But I am interested in a Superman set in the world that Zack Snyder created, where it's a more realistic take.
I better not have him be a problem on set. I'm trusting you, and I'm sure Danny Garcia would
be move forward.
Careful, even though he's not.
By the way, I want to just reiterate, I respect Grace Randolph. I have no problem with Grace Randolph whatsoever. I have a problem with what she's saying right now, but I have no problem with Grace Randolph. Grace Randolph seems to me a cool, intelligent, funny woman. I don't have a problem with her. I have a problem with what she's saying. Yeah, and we need to stop fixating on hating people on YouTube. I have no hate for her. I don't know her. I'm not trying to start some war with her. I like her. I like her channel. I like what she does. She entertains me. Sometimes I think she might be fibbing, but so does everyone on YouTube. Everyone on YouTube is doing their own thing where they make up stuff, make up headlines to try and get the clicks up on their channel. That's what we do. I'm probably going to do it at some point. If I get big enough in my channel, they do it. You make a headline so that people click on it. So this isn't a problem with her, but she really has been indoctrinated into this Snyder cult full on. She's taking hearsay claims hearsay claims, not claims that are actually have been factually proven to her, just hearsay claims and taking it as fact, taking it as Bible, and saying, oh, Jeff Johns is a functioning sociopath. A functioning sociopath. Wow.
Has gotten other great work, and Ray Fisher could too, as long as he does it, as long as he's a part of the Snyder Cut. I think that's really, really important for him. I think again, I think that Ray Fisher doesn't have to feel that he gave in or anything. I feel that he accomplished what he needed to. Everyone will remember accountability over it.
No, they won't. He tried to make it a thing. Nobody cares about it. It's not happening.
Want to see Ray Fisher succeed.
Anyway, I'm not going to go into that.
What do you think should be done at this point? Like, honestly, and like, you just have to like think what's your end game? I think that's
my end game is this. I want Zack Snyder to have work in the DC universe. I want him to be put on projects that he can really shine in. I think he's a great director. I think with the right, I would love to see him work on a Justice League versus Watchmen movie, or do some updates to the Watchmen universe. Some films based on that. Films based on characters like The Question. Films like Justice League Dark. Films where his talent will really shine through. I want him in DC and Warner Brothers. I think he deserves that. I think he went through heartache and turmoil with his daughter committing suicide like that. But I also think Jeff Johns is a major asset to the DC universe, with his imagination and what he does and his love of these characters and his ability to write these characters. Most of the great movies in DC in recent years have been based upon Jeff Johns' work. So short of him doing something truly horrible, something that he ought to be fired for, not something that he ought to get a slap on the wrist for, not being a little bit of a bully because some bosses are, not, something truly like either criminal or completely going against the code of conduct, a professional code of conduct. Unless it's one of those two things, then I want him on, and I want him helping making something like a Green Lantern movie, helping making something like a Superman rebooted movie. Because that's where he would best be at. Don't get rid of assets. Bring Zack Snyder on. Bring Jeff Johns on. Don't ever separate them. Don't ever let them have anything to do with each other's projects. Give them full creative license on their end of the spectrum, and let them do their thing. Let them do what they're best at. Jeff Johns was brought into this world, whether you want to call it God, the spirits, or just nature itself. He was brought into this world to write comics and to write these comic characters. Zack Snyder was brought into this world to make visually spectacular action, just amazing visual movies. Some of them good, some of them bad, but all of them brave, and all of them he swings for the fences. He never puts less than 100% into what his passion is. He's made some great ones. He's made The Watchmen, for me, one of the top 3 comic book movies of all time. Easily as well. Fantastic movie. I want him there, but not with a cult behind him trying to destroy anybody who gets in his way. They can coexist. Maybe Jeff Johns can learn from what has happened, learn from Ray Fisher's criticisms, become a better person. Don't cancel a great talent unless he's, as I said, code of conduct gone completely against the code of conduct of DC, and he's done something that is actionable in terms of that he can be fired for, or that he's done something criminal. If he's done one of those two things, sure, you can't defend him anymore, but you can't cancel him off of hearsay and internet rumor and speculation. You have to bring facts, proof. These things have to be, there has to be, you know, accountability over entertainment. If you really believe in that, then you should believe in due process, because that's what accountability is. If you want people to take accountability, you pay respect to due process. And like, just to finish this off with Ray Fisher's recent tweets. Here we go, Ray Fisher's recent tweets, acting again like a complete arse clown. It would appear that Warner Brothers Pictures has gone from giving libelous official statements to one media outlet to becoming a source of purposeful misinformation for another. The people are on to you. The investigation is coming. Casting aspersions on me will not change that. Okay, so that was obviously in reference to what they were saying. What Warner Brothers brought out about him, or maybe it wasn't even Warner Brothers, it was a news outlet brought out that Ray Fisher only started making these claims when you know, he was offered a lesser role in the Flashpoint movie. Okay, and then he says he uses accountability over entertainment. HollywoodReporter.com news, Warner Media, Progress, right? So he uses this article, being a complete fucking arse clown, as if we're not going to click on the article and see what it is. So he says, we've made progress now on our investigation. And I'm just going to go over this briefly. The article that he is talking about, Warner Media leaders concerned and disappointed with internal culture reports, memos say, so Warner Brothers CEO Jason Kilar says the company has hired a third party to review its production business and may terminate business relationships that do not live up to the company's conduct standards. Right. So Warner Media is not in this article that he is claiming is like progress for his case. He's talking about something completely different. He's talking about stuff that was happening on the Ellen DeGeneres show and at TMZ on TV and other shows produced by Subdivision Telepictures in 2 new memos. This has nothing to do with Warner Brothers Pictures and what was happening with him. Nothing to do with it. Again, manipulating, using stuff to fuel the Snyder cult hate against people online with no proof, no evidence, and as of yet, not even any allegations made, just innuendo. Okay, let's look at one more. Ray Fisher, quickly. The arse clown that he's become. Sorry, like the guy, like him as an actor, but he's acting like a fucking arse clown. Oh, what is this? I haven't even seen this one. Just finished this one. I'm always amazed and inspired by Ray Fisher and his strength to... Oh, no, this is not him. No. This is not him. Sorry, he just retweeted that. You can pause it if you want to find out what happened. But this last one I do want to read. I stand with Ray Fisher. Hasn't made any allegations. You stand with him. Great. Okay, this is the one I wanted to read. I absolutely fucking love this one. So, to protect the witnesses involved and information they possess, I strongly encourage any and all that have been contacted by the current investigator to respectfully decline to interview until a truly independent third party is engaged by Warner Brothers Media. Give me a headache. Give me a fucking headache right now. Okay, so let me get this straight. You want people... You want to protect your witnesses and you want them to not talk to the current investigators. Have you ever heard of a fucking mobile phone? Why not call them? Why are you announcing this on social media, on Twitter? What kind of BS is this? You're gonna want to say, "Oh, I'm trying to protect my witnesses, so and the precious information that they possess." So I encourage any and all that have been contacted by the current investigator to respectfully decline the interview until a truly third party is engaged at Warner Brothers. Huh? Who does that? If you're a lawyer, you don't tell your clients on social media not to talk to the other lawyer's side on Twitter. You give them a phone call and you call them, or you meet them up and for a lunch, a business lunch, and you say, "Don't talk to these guys. They're not the right guys to talk to." That's what you do. So he's actively encouraging people not to go along with this third party, by the way, investigation that has been launched by Warner Media or Warner Brothers. He's actively encouraging them not to do it. So what does he want? Okay, so that's enough of him being an arse clown. Super talented guy. Really like what he has to say about a lot of things, but he's acting like an arse clown on this particular situation. Who talks to their sources through social media? What kind of person talks to their sources through social media? So Warner Media's investigation into allegations of misconduct on the 2017 film may impact how Snyder Cut and spin-off of The Flash proceed. So this is the article that Grace Randolph was talking about, which she was warning Ray Fisher, to either come out and say what was done to him, or to stop doing a full-on war against Warner Brothers. Just focus on Jeff Johns. Right? So this is the article. I don't know what it says. I'm reacting to it for the first time, just like you. In October, director Zack Snyder will roll cameras for his extended cut of Justice League, working for Warner Media's HBO Max division on restoring his version of the maligned 2017 movie that he exited because of a family tragedy. The shoot, which will turn the Zack Snyder Cut into a 4-episode limited series, is expected to bring back Ben Affleck as Batman, Henry Cavill as Superman, and Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman for new scenes. Also set to appear on the call sheet for what is expected for a week or so long shoot is Ray Fisher as Cyborg. The latter is noteworthy because Fisher is in a public dispute with sister Warner Media division Warner Brothers, which he accuses of permitting Joss Whedon, the director who took over from Snyder, to engage in misconduct and abuse while reshooting Justice League. Fisher also claimed that executives John Berg and Jeff Johns, who both have since left the studio, enabled Whedon's behavior. Warner Brothers declined comment. Warner Media remains in business with Whedon, whose new show, HBO sci-fi drama The Nevers, is back in production in London. So he doesn't care about... You see how he doesn't care about Joss Whedon? He's making this all about Jeff Johns. Joss Whedon was the one who abused you, yeah? Why are you making it about Jeff Johns? Why? Because the difference is Joss Whedon's new Warner Brothers project is nothing to do with the DCEU. He wants to go after people who are still have influence over the DCEU, and that is Jeff Johns. And possibly now even Patty Jenkins has been brought into the mix. Hey, Master Swag, if you're still there, please let me know. And because there is somebody watching the stream. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. But if anyone's watching the stream, please do let me know. And I will. Just give me a smash the like button. Give me a high five. And I hope to do a video with you guys after. All right. So let's go back quickly to this article. So Cyborg was also So for Fisher being cast as a superhero cyborg by Snyder was supposed to be the break of a lifetime. The actor went from theatre work and one episode of television to land the character who was first introduced in Snyder's Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice, then showcased more predominantly in the Justice League. Cyborg was also to get his own standalone movie, which was slated for 2020, but all that was years ago. Justice League disappointed at the box office, and DC Films shake-up saw Jeff Johns and Berg let go to be replaced by Walter Hamada, an executive from Warner's sister arm New Line. Fisher's dissatisfaction came to light in June 29th, when he shared a video clip of himself at San Diego and said he retracts the statement, blah, blah, blah. Warner Brothers to investigate the claims on August 20th. He announced the company was looking into them. That led a back and forth between Warner Media and himself, right? So I don't know why. I'm going to do a separate video on this article because I want to investigate. What is she saying now? Is, you know, because Jason Momoa and some other people have come out to support Ray Fisher, you know, saying they stand by him. Jason Momoa is the most significant. Then there was Kirstie Clements as well, who came out saying she supported Ray Fisher. I'm not sure to date that anybody else is supporting Ray Fisher at all, but those two are big news. They are big news. And as I mentioned before, I think that one of the people who were probably I'm pretty sure was probably the victim of Josh Whedon. Jeff Johns becoming way too big-headed and deciding that he was going to fix the DCEU and hire his own people and make it more like Marvel. One of the people that got, was victim to that was Rick Famuyiwa, who's an excellent director, who I think would have made a marvelous Flash film. And he was fired by Jeff Johns, and you can see that he was fired by Jeff Johns by the way by his exit statement from the project. That it was John Berg and Jeff Johns behind that. So I believe where there's smoke, there's fire with Jeff Johns, and I believe he did some bad stuff. So I want that to be clear. But I want to do a video dedicated to this, this article, because it's quite long, and I want to cut off this video before it runs on too long. But in the meantime, do me a favor, smash that like button, give me a high five, and let me know. Let me know what your thoughts are on this whole situation. I'd love to know what you think in the comments section about all of this stuff. I think it's completely crazy what's going on. But that's me. I'm out. I want you to, if as I said, like, subscribe. It will really help for me to continue the videos if I know that I'm getting support on these videos. Comments are really, really welcome as well. Yeah. So that's me. That is, I am the Nerd Man. This is with enough prep time, and have a good one, guys.